Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Perhaps a political message in that one. This is what I think of their law. I'll get a copyright strike, that'll get deleted on YouTube, no doubt. Or muted, I should say. Hello, Specky Nut. Prodigy, one of my favourites, man. Jilted Generation. I'm not sure, was this Jilted or was this Experience? It was Jilted, wasn't it? When I hit the download button. Good evening, Moz, my mate. Good to see you. Yeah, I listened to this very quickly before I downloaded it. It sounded sufficiently different to the original. But yeah, when I played it throughout there, it was quite likely to get me struck. Yes, definitely. Definitely, Specky. I thought it was quite apt for today. Any of you Northerners might agree with it. I certainly do, but that's enough of that. Where am I? Right, what I wanted to do today was something I've looked forward to for a very long time, and that was to make the fight scene. However, I've just remembered that earlier today, I tried to shrink the world width, and you can see my note there, it says that it breaks the code when it's not 80 width. I did go as far as to find where I believe the problem is. We were just adding viewport width here, which is 40. That's wrong. It just happened to work because we were 80 width, which was twice the viewport. Oh, I see the GitHub. Yeah, I'll check that out. Unfortunately, it's hard for me. Before I started streaming, I used to read everything and really try and take in tutorials a lot. Now I find I'm just too tired for it a lot of the time. But I enjoy it. It's a good feeling. But sadly, I have to let some things go. But I'll try and work through that. Need a day off. Nah, I love it, mate, to be honest. I mean, I might have one soon. I've got 3 weeks off proper work coming off soon, so there will be a lot of coding going on. I love it, really. I love it, but it still doesn't mean it doesn't tire you out after a while, innit? You can't go full pace all the time. But anyway, like I say, this really needs to add world width, sorry. Take away viewport width. So now we've got 50 width from the world, 40 width for the viewport. So it should just add 10. The problem is, it does add 10, but it doesn't go forward a whole line after that. I'll show you what I mean. So do you see how they're not lined up properly anymore? And if I go right to the bottom, there we go. We start getting major problems. That's the bottom of the world. Yo, Micro Man, fellows idiot. Yeah, I wanted to do the fight scene, but I think I should address this. Now, I could just ignore it, put this back to being 80 wide, this world, and it'll work again. Nice one, Vulcan. Major earthquake. Hopefully that's not real in near you. Did it just happen? If that is. Or was it in the game world? I hope that's what you mean. That's good, that's good. Yeah, so I think I've sussed what the problem is. It's skipping. We were skipping forward 40 here, and it was working. Perhaps that does need to be viewport width. No, you see, add HLBC, so that's like the offset. We're going forward that amount, and we're supposed to be on the next line. Only the first 5 tiles there in the top left, which actually is 10 because they're 4. It's 2 by 2. See, like them white tiles at the top. I'll go and stand in them. So that one's correct, and of course I'm standing in 2 tiles width. They're all correct up till there, and then that's broken already there. You felt them. That must be pretty crazy. Being in the UK, we haven't really felt any earthquakes. I think we had a few, but you know, nothing noticeable. So what have I done here? Let's try just putting that as 10 then. Exactly the same as I thought. If we have it at 40, that's where it was before. But of course, the world is actually thinner now, so it completely doesn't work. You'll see what happens. Oh, that's different to how I had it earlier. That's strange that... 8 pixels out. Crazy, isn't it? Do I have to rewrite this whole routine? So just to demonstrate, just to reiterate what's going wrong, I removed a load of these. It was 80 wide. Now it's 50. I better make sure it's definitely 50. It's 5, 10. God, I can't count it. It's too much the same. I'll just use the computer to do it for me. So there's 199 characters selected there. Each one is 4. So 50 is correct. What a bugger. So it points at the world. It takes the top byte of the camera into D. Takes the world width into E. And it multiplies D by E, leaving the result in DE. So it adds that to the world. Then gets the top byte of X. Adds that to HL. Points at the screen memory. LDIR. That's our problem. So I've stored B, but this actually counts down B. No, I don't think that's the case, Specky. The viewport, the camera and the viewport is the same size as the screen. I can't change that. If I do, I'd have to make it not fill the whole screen. I found the problem anyway. I know what the problem is now. The fact was, I just happened to be storing the right value there, and it was only correct because it was exactly double the width of the screen. Do you know what though? It works so well. I'm kind of tempted to just say worlds have to be a multiple of 40 width. The height wouldn't matter. They could be any height. So they could be 40, 80 or 120 as well width. Or 160 or 200. But it's kind of a cop-out. But I see what happens now. Like when I put, what I wanted to do was put so I've just actually figured out a way of doing it. All I have to do is make sure that I store this somewhere else now. Multiples of 40 is fine. The screen is 40. Yeah, but 40 is actually the width of the screen now. Funnily enough. Because of the border. It used to be 32. But then you've got 4 each side on the border. Same for the top and bottom as well. I just figured it out though. It wants to count down BC, right? And that has to be 40. So I have to make sure BC is 40 here, basically. And make sure you use the constant just in case you change the viewport width in a later date. I wouldn't advise doing that. It'll make the code a lot. You'd have to do something else about skipping down a line. You'd have to add another offset and jump forward a bit, like down here somewhere, before you go back. But now we're going to add 10 because it's 50 take away 40. That's where we're adding the 10. But here we're going to count down 40 times. So this should actually work. And it does. Great. I sometimes surprise myself how clever I am. I'm only joking. I got rid of all the static objects because I was going to, what I wanted to do earlier was create a smaller world and put, you gotta love the confidence, cheers. It was said tongue in cheek. But sometimes I surprise myself. Yeah, I wanted to make a nice small world with some sense to it, you know, with a control panel at the top and a place where the enemy was going to be blocking the door and stuff like that. But I never got around to that. Confidence and paranoia, I love it. They can be some random enemies you encounter. Paranoia. And if you encounter confidence, he gives you like magic or something. I was thinking as well, I said you had to fight the kebab monster and you had to use a bazookoid. But didn't they use something else? Like I think they used lager for that. So you'd have to find some lager somehow. You'd have to unlock the storage. Go and find the lager. Is that your stain on your trap? I love the Red Dwarf quotes, honestly. That was another thing that annoyed me today. I'm just going to quickly flash you back to the tile set in a sec. For some reason, my brain can't cope with like hex. Like I know exactly how hex works, but it's just a ball ache. Like I was trying to draw these grey tiles, these ones. So obviously we're drawing these right now. So I should just have to add 4, yeah? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Let me at him. Yeah, so I wanted to go into the world, wherever it was, and I want to add 4 to all of these, yeah? Wouldn't it be great if someone writes a script that lets you do that somehow? But I have to use find and replace, of course. And there's 4 different tile types. So you've got 3C, and I want to add 4. Oh, that's why it's not adding 4, is it? I get it. It's actually adding 7. Alright, so 4. Oh, sugar. 4, 3 is that one. And then this should be 4, 4. Okay, I seem to be on fire because I tried to do this earlier and it took me ages. I kept failing. Hopefully this is going to be grey floor. But hey, alright, it's looking a bit dingy. I like it. It's quite a thin map now. Can't really go any thinner. It's only a little bit wider than the screen itself. It's quite a long level. Not that long. Brown alert. Brown trousers time. I'm happy with that because I suddenly remembered that this crud, and I suddenly and my heart was sunk. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna be stuck on that all day. But now I can get straight into that fight scene. So I guess we'll make that enemy down there. You know that NPC. Let's just make him the baddie for now. That triggers a fight scene. Right now we've got it as collide solid. There is quite a bit to do to prepare for this fight scene. I mean, for example, well, we have already got some stats here. That I don't know if we need money on Red Dwarf. Probably not. Of course, we want an inventory of items to make the game more fun, you know. And there's many ways you could store that. You could actually use just bits, couldn't you? Let's say you have I mean, only the player's going to have an inventory, but I'll keep it the same. Why not? But let's say you have I mean, you could have 16 if you wanted, couldn't you? Make it simple. We'll have 8 different items that you can pick up. One will be the lager. The Zookoid. I think you get the picture now. Poppadom. I know that's probably not how you spell Poppadom, but I don't care. Fish. You get the picture. I'm going to roll myself a smoke just to have a break for a second. I'll read your messages now. Fetch quest. Blue alert. That sounds quite fun. Get Crichton to change the bulb. Actually, that would be a way to make quite an advanced gameplay on this. You could start out as just Lister, and all the different teammates could be trapped in different areas. You know, you'd have to figure out where they're trapped, and it would basically come down to having a fight with whoever's blocking that door, and then having the right item in your possession. Yeah. Everybody's there. Yeah, I should start out like that, shouldn't I? Start out from the beginning. I can't remember what happens in that actual episode. I think Rimmer just appears, doesn't he? Of course, it's not going to be exactly the same as this show. You know, like I said it at the start of the project, it's highly likely I won't finish the game. I'm just experimenting with how stuff works. I was going to do the anchored sprites today. Still could, but I'm kind of thinking the fight scene might be a bit more fun. I'll just roll this smoke. So anyway, we've got space for 8 inventory items there, haven't we? In one bite. Maybe you could start out with one. Let's say it's been a while since I've actually watched the show. Trying to think of some item he could start with that would open a door or get him some other item somehow. Some smeg. We could even go as far as being like, you could have a Holly watch, and then you could press the button, it could load a new screen, and Holly's there giving you some back chat with some tips. Robot goldfish, that's a good idea. You're going to fix it, haven't you? It's actually hard. I know the stories quite well, but I'm trying to think of one to chuck in this game. It's actually quite hard to think of items to use and how to use them. Scutters, good idea. I forgot all about them. I mean, I might struggle writing advanced AI, you know, going around pathfinding and stuff like that. Keys to Starbug, that sounds like a good shout. Well, you got to turn the power on, maybe. Maybe the power's gone. Got to turn that on so you can talk to Holly. Something like that. Kebab. Collect bits to fix it. Yeah, that sounds the best way. That's a nice idea. I like that. Maybe you could start with one item though. We'll just say like, I don't know, locker key. So that's so say you start with a locker key. Banana icon is an orange. That's good though, I like that. The item's an aardvark. A traffic warden. Banana's just a red herring, like you gotta go bin it. You can start with that as well. Yeah, we've got health. health points. You can actually increase them as well, you know, as you go through the game. Too real. I mean, I don't want to get too hung up making this, you know, I don't want to stick rigidly to a game design document or anything like that. I'm just playing around, as I keep saying. But really, the idea here is to when you get into a battle, you know, we've got to have some way to know if they're going to win that battle. Do you know what I mean? You don't want it to just be completely random. When I say a battle, like the main boss of the level sort of battle. Like, for example, this time you're going to need the lager to defeat the kebab monster. Or, if you can remember a better monster. Because there were some good ones, but I can't really remember them at the moment. Like I say, it's not too much about that. It's more about learning how to do it. Try something else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. Right. I'm just thinking now where to put this routine. Does it suit being in the player? Or is it more like a world sort of thing? Because the world is what displays the tiled map. And we don't want to display that when we're in the fight scene. Where it's like a sideways sort of graphics. You know, you've seen Final Fantasy or something like it before. We'll do it like that. Polymorph. That's a bloody good idea. Need a victory tune. Yeah, I mean, at the moment I've got sound disabled on the emulator intentionally because sometimes I run my computer without my sound card connected, and it wouldn't boot. And I've got no idea how to do sound just yet. It should be good at showing how to pick up items. Oh yeah, that'll be a doddle, mate. For example, though, we've already done that with the NPC. We set the visibility bit here. So if you wanted an item to be drawn on screen, you'd do it in a very similar way to this. Where is it? It's checking in view. It's just like collision detection, but you're checking collision with the viewport window. And once you detect a collision, you set the bit 7 on a certain byte that you use in the draw code, and it tells you whether to draw at this frame or not. We also calculate the screen position here based on the world position which we specify in cells. This converts that onto on-screen space at any given time as you move about the world. My computer's from the 1990s. It'd be worth more if it was, trust me. A sound card. Yeah, it's built into my headphones, my sound card. It's weird. So when my headphones run out of battery, the sound card just disables. Like it doesn't think it's got a sound card. It's stupid, I know. It's annoying. I mean, I can change that. I can change it to the other. It's got an inbuilt one as well. But I disabled that, you see. Otherwise, it takes over sometimes when I don't want it to. Where was I? Oh yeah, where was I going to put the routine? Well, I've decided I'm putting it into the tiled world for now. And in the end, this will probably get renamed to like Screen Manager or something like that. I have got a voice meter, but it's not very accurate. It stays in the red light quite a lot. But then if I if I get it out of the red and I hear the video back, I notice you can't even hear me. I'm going to buy a new mic any day now. It's just getting around to it, isn't it? You know, it's not something you want to do. Spend a lot of money on a mic. All that stuff needs to be at the bottom, I think. So like I say, I'll probably... Oh yeah, Amazon. Well, even eBay is, to be honest, pretty good. We buy off the right people. Tempted just to change this to Screen Manager now and I'm done with it. Save any confusion. Nah, I'll leave it as Tiled World. I can't be bothered to change that, all that. But let's have... Let's have a routine display fight scene. I haven't got any graphics for this, unfortunately. I haven't had time. We'll just have to use our imagination for a minute with the graphics. Yeehaw, Kung Fu. You're doing a separate screen for this or on the world? A separate screen. But it's done, I'm doing it in the same file. What I'm about to do will answer that question. I'm making some states. So you can only be showing one screen at a time, yeah? You're either in tiled level. Wait there. Or you're in fight. I mean, let's make the inventory a different screen as well. I can change my mind whenever I want, you know. If I decide to make a pop-up box, I'm going to have to learn how to make a pop-up box anyway for the dialogue. So chances are we'll use the dialogue system when we've invented that to also show our inventory. That's it, Specky. And also you'll be able to jump to a whole new tiled world if you want to and just load a different world. It will take a lot of data. I'm skeptical about how much data I can fit into this thing. I've got a lot of learning to do. I'm definitely not an expert, as you know. But this is just what it's going to show. So when we've got init tiles, okay, that can be done once. But this draw tile view, that's what draws the level constantly. Somewhere it's getting called. Unfortunately, we're calling it all from there. But in the player, we'll check that state that we just made. And we'll only call these if we're in that tiled level state. And if not, instead we'll call this routine. I don't even know how to clear the screen. I have to quickly look that up. We can probably just draw something over the top of it. Yeah, I will be doing that, Specky. I think it's going to take my week when I have the weeks off. In about a week or so, I've got some weeks off, and I think hopefully I'll learn all about the banks and that then. Yeah, so I'm not actually sure how to clear the screen with the tiled map. We could use that layer too. Do you remember on the last project? I don't think I've got it left in here, but you can load a bitmap into a slot and have that as a background. I keep clicking the wrong ones. I think what I'll do is I'll have one tile be a background. So for example, hex 40 is like a little sort of square with another square inside it. I'm just going to use that as a background for now. Because like I said at the start of the video though, I expect this to take me ages, like more than one night to get this working. Oh yeah, we can just turn the tile map visibility off. We have done that before. Bit 7 of what byte though? Do you know what next register that one is? There's definitely a way of doing it though. Ooh, 6B. Nice one. So here's where we enable it, look. So I would guess in this one we can just disable it. Try that anyway. In fact, we could just do the bit. Well, I don't know how to do that on the next register actually. Let's just leave. If we're disabling it, it shouldn't matter what happens to it, I don't think. Right, for now, let's just leave it literally at that then. So, where was that collision? It said collided solid. Oh, it's an NPC, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so here we'll let us walk into the enemy. What did I call it again? Display fight scene, wasn't it? So what I really want to do is set the state and then have the player check the state all the time. I could just call it this one time. No, I'm going to do what I just said because the player is also going to want to know. The code here is going to want to know whether the player's in the fight scene or not. So we want to display a different sprite and all that rubbish. So all of that is only when we're in the level mode. And now we can just check what that state was doing. Because I'm just going to call it, I'm going to push and pop AF. So it's the same old stuff that we've done many a time. I don't have a mechanical keyboard, no. I've got a very cheap Logitech one for £20 with a mouse and keyboard wireless. It's pretty clicky, yeah. Do apologise. That's the thing, I've got to turn my mic gain right up. Otherwise people weren't able to hear. It's like I could change the hang on, I'll try it now while I've got your attention actually, because there's a filter I can put on, like a noise gate. So if I turn the open threshold up, see what this is like now. The thing is, this might crop my voice when I first start to talk. Yeah, they are. Let me know if this is worse. Nah, the headset sounded so bad. I've got a headset, but anyway, let's get this code done. Is that better? Is it? Yeah. Sound. Let me know if it starts getting stupid, because you know, it probably depends on where I'm sitting and stuff like that with this noise gate. Okay. Like I say, any day now I am going to buy one of them blue, whatever the hell they're called. People keep recommending. This last one here, I don't think we're going to need actually. Also, I should have pushed there, popped, if I was going to use that. Okay. I mean, I'm one of them. I normally try and scrimp and save, but I've come to, over the years to realise it's not worth scrimping and saving. If a lot of people recommend me a product and it's only like £30 more, you end if you're gonna like if it's obviously if it's something you have to buy a lot of all the time, that's different. But if you're only gonna buy one for years, then sometimes just save that extra little bit in it and get it. But it's been long enough now. I should get it. I'm just being lazy now by not doing it. It's hard, isn't it, to go online and actually pay like £120 for a mic and just wait, you know. Yeah, I agree. It's not worth scrimping. I've tried over the years. Sometimes I've had a bargain, but not very often. Anyway, I'll create that player update fight and not even use it yet. It's not needed just yet. But so now all we have to do is change the state to fight, and then we can call that either one time or every frame or whatever we want to do. So let's just call that every frame for now. So back into player, where I just said we weren't going to use this. That's cool. Oh. I guess. Yeah, that'll do. Whatever. Sometimes I worry about the names too much. Alright. I think that would be enough now to get it to just show a blank screen then when we get into a fight now. So I need to create this start fight. Well, in fact, it's going to get... Yeah, this will just get called one time then. Start fight. Let's put it in tiled world. So I'll take the current state, and if it's already fight, I'll return. If not, store it as fight. We could do anything else there, like if we wanted to play a one-off noise, we could do that here, for example. And then this is going to, I guess we want to just turn the tile map off just one time as well. I don't know. Fancy that question. However, it must be able to handle what we're doing because this is quite basic, really. It's got it. Yeah, I mean, it's got it. It's got the hardware there to do this, so it must be able to handle it. I would have thought. Yeah, and actually, last night we set it here into 28 megahertz mode on the emulator. And in the real next, start fight. Let's see if it turns off the tile map then when we get to the fight. There you go. So obviously we don't want to draw these either. Stretch. I can do that. Oh, cruising for a bruising. Yeah, so then obviously the reason they're getting drawn is because I only dealt with the update loops. I didn't change the draw. We actually do want to draw a sprite, but in a different place. And it's actually a different sprite. He's got a real strut. He has, hasn't he? Pumpkin, nice. Like I said, I can imagine myself struggling with this as we get into it. But what we really want to do, well, let's just deal with one thing at a time. The player. We want to snap him to somewhere like the right side of the screen. Like imagine if this grey text window was the game area. The player would be somewhere like here. And of course, I know we're dealing with little sprites. I could use anchored, but let's deal with that another time. Just make do with these small sprites. So he's going to be like a little sprite over here. But we're going to have 4 of them eventually, remember, in the gang. And I might even start the game with 4. I think I probably will, because the game's going to be tiny. And then the boss is over, the enemy's here. And then as you do your magic and that, you do a little animation. And then it tells you how much health you've damaged and all that sort of stuff. So I want a constant for the player's position. Now I just said we're going to have 4, but right now we've only got 1 like player sprite here. So I'm just going to pretend there's only going to be 1 right now. And actually in the game you'll walk around, you'll only see 1, but when you get into the battle there'll be 4. So you want player fight X. Let's just make it clearer. Pos X. It could be a constant, and they'll all be the same X. I'm not sure what the number should be. I think something like 250 is going to be alright. Let's make it 230. I'm going to have pos Y1. That's the first one of the 4. Let's put that 100. So all I want to do is snap it to there and hold it there. It's getting very big, this routine. I could have split it, of course, if I wanted to, but it also gets annoying if you've got too many files, so it made me forget what I was doing. I was going to make a routine. Oh, update fight, there we go. Player start fight. So I just want to set his position to be that value, what I just specified. Oh, it's a word. Not sure I can do this, can I? My brain's gone completely blank how to deal with these numbers all of a sudden. I believe that just compiled without any warnings, so I hope that's okay to do that. So I point H out at PX and then I load the data into it with that value. Yeah, I'll check that. I like Z80 Heaven as well. System variables. Ooh, that's a nice list. I've got enough in my mind to get to grips with here. Like I'm already You know, I've learnt enough, which I'm now trying to cement into my mind. If you know what I mean, rather than add new stuff, ideally. And when I mean, I'm referring to the sprite and the attributes 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that. I hope that's right, what I'm doing there. We'll soon know. Okay. Start fight. Let's just call it from here. Okay, we're looking good. Running timer, R&D. Don't know what that means. Sorry, man. Certainly going to look at making bigger sprite. It hasn't moved in. Ah, okay. I expected him to move. Ah, no, no. So I changed the position. Player draw still gets called, regardless of what we've just been doing here. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it doesn't work. It must be the way I've loaded HL there. That looks freaky to me. We can do that breakpoint thing. Step through. Oh, it's not even breakpointing. Okay. Okay. That's weird, isn't it? Oh, what? I've put it in player start. We're not even using that right now. Let's just get rid of it. Probably ain't going to need a breakpoint. Specky notices it. Well done. I noticed it before I saw your chat, I promise. Hey, there he is, look. He's up there ready. Of course, these ones that only get called one time, we could add a delay in there if we wanted to hold for 2 seconds or whatever, play music. So the same for the NPC. This is going to get highly more complicated later because at the moment we've only got one NPC. I need to make a table of all of this. But this actual bit here won't ever change. It'll be the same for every baddie. Let's just say 80 or 100. There probably could be more than one in a fight at some points, but for now we'll just pretend there's only one. The old song. Do you reckon I could digitise that somehow? Like make it sound like it's done on a... Maybe I could do it on Sid. I wanted to get a Sid tracker video out soon, didn't I? Because I did learn how to use it. I dabbled with it and I went through a tutorial and figured a bit out. It was enough to make a song with trial and error. Anyway, look, we're not using NPC start right now either. Oh, it is getting cold. I'll just leave it there. Screen X is actually what I want. I probably should have just kept calling that X like I had at the start. Okay. I'm just trying to think. May as well just do the same thing as we did before. Right. That can be empty right now. What have we got in player update fight at the moment? Display fight scene. Okay. So little by little we're edging towards what we need. It's a long way away from having multiple enemies. But there you go, that's worked. That was weird how he was still animated for a little while. Hey, thanks, Michael, man. Alright, it's looking a bit better. That's really good of you, man. Much appreciated. Okay, that's roughly lined up. Because this enemy is going to be bigger. I am going to do an anchored sprite. It's going to be like a big monster. We need some sort of background. I think I will use the tiled map, but just have a different world. So where I've got the dwarf, that's this level. You know, another level would be down here. Fight scene, fight world, fight map. This only needs to be 40 by 32. And in fact, we could just do the top. Like if we do say the top third of the screen. And in fact, do we even need that? We could just do a border, couldn't we? Like do the first tile line, tile row, and the last one, and then the same with the columns. And then maybe do one across the sort of third of the screen. Yeah. So just a few of the lines we want to do really, with a line of tiles. Like for now, you just have to pretend I've got the right tile, because there's no point in me drawing up a new tile right now. Show you what I mean quickly. No, I'm just going to use this one for now. But what I really want is something with some lasers, you know, two lines. Alright, just on the screens. Think about RD timelines. It would be cool if I can fit enough data in and make this into a proper game. I will certainly do stuff like that. Right now, it's going to be the most basic stuff, you know, like walk down there, pick up this item, go to the enemy, fight. In that case, maybe we don't need any data for a fight map. If you remember though, I've turned the tile map off. So I'd have to turn it back on and fill it all with zero, you know, with blank. Which wouldn't be that hard. Tile 0 is actually blank. So we could just LDIR 0 in for all these times. Perhaps let's try that. I put draw. Oh yeah, tiled world, draw view. Okay, yeah, clear view. Oh. So yeah, LDIR starting here and ending there with 0 should do that. Wait, I don't think I even need a label there. LDI until BC is 0. What will it load? How can I make it load 0 into the into where D is every time? Hmm. Sure, there's a way to constantly put the same value in over and over again, isn't there? Oh. I remember we had this on the 48k that Moz wrote, didn't he? I'm sure it is LDIR. It's the same as the clear screen, really, isn't it? I guess I could just do it like I've done it here instead. Or is it just... Actually, am I just being stupid again? Is it just that? Just trying to copy it off here. Yeah, see, HL points at the data. I hope it doesn't get incremented though. LDI. Bet it does. Yeah. A nightmare. Uh, doesn't need BC. Can it just do that? Maybe. Probably slow though, I reckon. Oh, done something. Interesting. I wonder if that has succeeded in putting zeros in everything, but then there's some sort of weird stuff about the colour attributes happening there. It was funky. That's a shame, because it would be nice to be able to clear the screen without turning the tile map off, wouldn't it? We're going to have to find a way of doing that eventually. But I guess I could just use the maybe that is getting the blank tile in the tile map. Of course, that's what's happening. What's the highest tile then? I think 47 in hex is a blank tile again, a magenta tile. I'll get into using that instead of OX. It seems to be the standard, doesn't it? I don't know. I can't get used to whichever one. There we go. Brilliant. How did you re-establish the old map? Just by calling this instead. Sorry. Just doing something. Yeah, so that's not hard. We'll be able to do that, don't you worry. Alright, so we've established a way to clear the view. What we really want to do is draw like a nice, we want to draw some lines across, some of the lines, the tile lines. So we want something similar to this, but instead of drawing the world, we want to draw our fight scene, like maybe I'll call it something else, fight tile map, and it's going to skip loads of lines, just be hard coded, so we'll draw like whatever line we hard code in there. I really wish I had a nice looking tile to do it with, but I'm just going to do it with one of them little floor tiles. See, it's very badly named, this tiled world, but I'm going to stick with it for now. So I'll call it draw view fight. I'll actually copy this first bit. It'd be worth leaving the camera where it is so that we can reinitialize after. This means we could go into fights and just reappear in the map where we were. Not 100% sure that it's even needed the camera for the fight scene, but I don't think there's any reason why we can't just do the same thing. Oh, indeed, we don't need the camera, yeah. We can get rid of all of that. Don't even need that. Just like what we did with tiled world, I've selected one tile there. We'd have another one that is a line. Let's just get rid of all that code actually. If you really think about it, a line just starts at one of these addresses, and you can work them out. I think it's like here is each line, so that'll go down one line and two. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So just to test that and try and draw one line down. And I guess I may as well just copy my own routine there. I could use this LDIR thing. But this just seems easier for me to load like the same number in every time. Excuse me. So that's the time I'm going to use. This time maybe I do want to use the LDIR really, because I want to do exactly 40 of them. Ignore that that's 40, that's got nothing to do with it. Oh, I'm just reading your message. That's it. Yep. This happens to be viewport width. That's the only thing that annoys me, or confuses me I should say, about LDIR. How do I... HL gets incremented, yeah, but I don't want it to. That's the annoying thing. I wonder if there's one that doesn't do that. Because I take it if I do... If I do that, because I want to load tile 40 hex, I want to do one line there. But that's going to keep going up, isn't it? What a bugger. That's why I was writing a manual loop here. It does pretty much the same thing. I guess I'll just see what that does. Well, I don't even get any tiles. Clear view. Oh, we're not calling that. This is a one-shot thing. You don't need to do it every frame. Yeah. Right. I thought that would be the case or something like that. Maybe that's not one line either. I think it is though. If you got 32 from there, you get to 60, which is the top. The only reason I didn't want to do these loops was because I need more than one of them. But I wanted to hard code them in, really, these lines. I guess just do draw fight line 1. So I'm no longer using LDIR for that one. Yeah, I'm learning it. I was just trying to work out whether that is the next line down or not. That's what I was stopping for. I've cleared the screen. I'm trying to draw one line. It does get a bit different though as well, doesn't it? Because the tile map is replacing this, isn't it? But the tiles are bigger than the cells used to be on. I don't know. I'm getting confused. That used to be the screen memory, didn't it, on this 48K? Let me just keep going a sec. As soon as I'm not using LDIR, I may as well just use HL like I'm used to there. So I could either use this as the iterator. Don't think that is the start of the next line. Because if you look at clear screen, it goes up 1 for each tile, starting there. Second line begins at 4028. Thanks, Micro. Darn. So it's not going to be as simple as I thought it was going to be. It could still be as simple as that. It's just that the numbers don't look as pretty. I mean, second line begins at 1028. So let's do it 10 lines down. So that would be, I guess, use my calculator again. So would that be that? Would that be line 10? 4280. And then I want to go. Oh god, just changed the wrong one. Okay, so 10 lines, yeah. Nice one. I get confused because that's like 10, but there's 16 in hex, so I get confused why it works like that, but that's my problem, don't worry. I don't like using the iterator. I really don't. I mean, I could use A. That's back to front, really. Okay, so I'm hoping we'll get one line on one row, whole row on line 10. You've got an empty cup, that's no good, man. I don't think that's line 10, is it? But because there's 32 lines, but at least we're getting the line now. Isn't that strange? So this should give us a row at the top, which we actually probably want. And then I would have said 10 lines was about, just above our head. The last one would be, that should work if the compiler can handle that. I didn't like it. So it should give us one along the bottom, right? It doesn't though, that's odd. That is very odd. Top row works. That's really odd. Hmm. This is the top of the memory. Oh, okay, so that started halfway through a line. That's why it's gone down like that. But you were somewhere close. So 4-6 is probably the last one. Are we remembering it wrong? There's 40. And I think one byte represents one tile. Or is it 2? Yeah, they're 4-bit, aren't they? They're 4-bit. That'll be the last one. So what would that show up though? Do I need to take off the width of the line? I guess I can just do -40. Oh, nothing there. Try this out. Oh, oh. Funny this. I don't actually get that, like whatsoever, because that's something for me to think about overnight. What's happening here? 4190. Weird. That's exactly where I wanted the line. Maybe one higher. So let's try and get it one higher then. 4190. Let me work out how many one is. I think it's 20. So in hex, 14, 1-4 hex every time. No, that's half a line. Okay. So it's like you said, 28. Okay, all good, all good. In that case, let's just put a constant in. Wait. That's the same as viewport width. So 10 lines down. Yay! We've got a nice little structure now. God, sometimes I make things so hard. I've seen tables with HB. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Why not? Because it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Having said that, this is just as good, really, isn't it? That is the length of. Well, I was just getting confused with all the hexadecimal again. Yay! Oh, look, it didn't move though. What the hell? Ah, Idiot Stimpy. There we go. Yeah, I've been using it years, believe it or not, Micro. But I used to look at it in a viewer that was very nice to use. So it converted it for you all the time. It showed you it in both the whole time. And you could either view like one nibble, one bite, or 16-bit chunk, and then you could see it backwards if it was back. It was all like really easy. And also, I was just looking for a few things that were changing. Like I was trying to find what lives were and stuff. Wasn't nothing like this. Yeah, man. I'm loving the next right now because I'm getting loads of them aha moments with the next as well. And I'm just learning little tricks that I never knew existed before that are general to all systems. I couldn't really name them off the top of my head, but 32 should be the bottom line, I think. In fact, 31, isn't it? Of course. I do. I love it, man. Yeah, that's the bottom line. So I think we want something like 8 up from the bottom. I want to be able to fit four of my guys in there. I suppose I could nudge my guy up a bit. That's quite nice. That's quite a lot like the Final Fantasy now. Of course, at the top and bottom, it's going to show your health and all that sort of stuff. In fact, you need some options. Normally, yeah, there's some buttons. You can just move a highlighted button around. Pick whether you want to run away or fight. So I can't avoid it that much longer. We're going to have to look at fonts soon. And that's going to open up the massive challenge of the dialogue system, as well as the easy challenge of just showing these values on the screen, which shouldn't be hard, really. Shouldn't be that hard. Thanks, Micro. I appreciate you. Appreciate it, mate. We're getting there, and I gradually chunk through it. Of course, we're going to quit this project eventually. It'll get too messy, and I want to learn a new skill, and I'll be like, right, I'm going to make a project just about that. You know, maybe the gravity thing like we did with Space Taxi, stuff like that. But right now, I'm happy in here. This is quite clean code, really. I understand most of what is happening still. um, I really don't want to do the fonts right now. That's going to be another day for that. What else would be in there in that fight scene? Or what else is missing that's not super hard? I could make the little buttons, I guess. No, that's going to need text as well. So. I don't want to do the boring task of just creating the world, like, you know, adding the stasis booths and all that in here. I'll do that myself. I'm going to get, you know, eventually I'll get it looking quite nice, like a real game. There'll be some walls around, enemies blocking your path. I suppose, I think I'll push this to GitHub and then maybe have a look at adding 2 or 3 NPCs, like a table of them. And that should see us through to the end of the vid. So I'll push this to GitHub now because it does work pretty lovely. Let's call it lovely. Okay, that's on there. So can I get away with shrinking this text because I want to be able to see it more? I think that's okay right now. Everything's going to be a little bit more tricky now, isn't it? Because everything's going to have to pick the right enemy. So how do we want to do this? Nice one, Micro. I think I know where I went wrong with the GitHub before. You have to do it in a specific order if you roll back, otherwise you can get yourself into hot water. Nice one, mate. I'm just trying to make sure I don't make a mountain out of a molehill here. Because we want to loop through each one. We're never going to have more than one NPC on the screen at one time. Perhaps there is just a way of keeping this and just have it know which one it is. Thing is, it would definitely need its own table of world. No, I think I'm going to just create a table of NPCs. Maybe name it something better. Actually, that's a good plan. Instead of creating, I'm going to do that, what I just said, but not now. Instead, I'm going to create like a collectible object, which works about the same way. I'm going to create it from scratch as a table, and then I'll be able to use that when I make this into a table. So let's call it collectibles. Yeah, so it's going to be heavily like this. It's going to be extremely similar. And having X and Y that are words. Now, I was thinking we could use bytes and just it could still be a word. Do you know what I mean? I believe that wouldn't be too much of a problem. It could be a source of confusion for us, but we're just going to have to get used to it. I might even do that to remind myself, and then for the bits I'll do. No. So that actually is just X and Y. Then it needs these as well. They are luckily just bytes. They're going to need slots, each one their own one. So I've made that constant, but that's not correct really. Attribute 4 isn't actually needed. That's for when you want to anchor sprites or zoom them. But we might as well use it. We've got it coded here. VS Code. That's a good idea. I do that with Notepad++. I've got loads of spam thoughts just dumped in there because it doesn't need to save, does it? I just close it and it's there still. It's interesting you actually say that because I do that exact thing with Notepad++. It could be anything, to a list of TV shows I want to watch, to like my next big plan, you know. It could be anything. There's loads of code in there, but I'm not sure if we need animation counter. We're not going to need that, please. Is showing. It's going to be needed. I'm going to have that at the front. So, quite a big chunk. Just remind myself. What am I doing X3? Y1, of course. So world X and world Y are the ones we're actually going to set. This is actually for the computer to set. Yeah, this isn't actually a comment. This is like, well, it is, of course, but this is important. Commenting. It's basically essential. If I didn't do this, I'd be screwed trying to remember these all the time, which order they go in. I should probably put 0 because that's where we start. It's quite hefty now with the next. It's not quite as straightforward as it used to be, is it? Really fun. More potential. Reality games. What's a reality game? Oh, right, like Euro Truck. It's not very real though. I tried Euro Truck out. The, you can drive to like New York in half an hour or something from London, you know, or from, obviously you can't drive to New York from London, but you can drive to like southern Africa or something. Spain. It would be amazing if they had it completely one for one scale. So if you drove from Torquay to London, it would take you like 4 hours in a truck, 5 hours. Oh no, I was going to put is alive first. Is showing. because we check that quite often. Ah, sod it, I can't go. I'll keep it here. No, I think I should have it at the start. This will save me time in the long run when I'm looping through loops and I want to point at just one of these. Quickly check that as a reference. So it's not a very efficient way of doing it. There's probably a way of doing it, setting these as constants and then just having one. Maybe I should do that with the NPC so I can try both techniques. But we could just, let's say the bazookoid was going to be at world 2030. We could have bazookoid 2030 and then, just populate this one collectible every time. This is like more simple though. Because we can code them all in before we start the game. Let's see if it can handle it or not. Maybe it's a waste of data in it if you think about it. I probably will waste even more and put that there so we know when we're at the end. Some array planning, yeah. Yeah, well I was thinking like, imagine if I pre-populate a load of constants with all of these. Like, of course the computer does that. So we have one of it. Because you are only going to see one of these at the same time. I guess this enables us to have more than one on screen. We can do whatever we want with them. You could pick them up and put them down all in one screen and stuff like that. It might be more fun for like a hunting game or collecting, like a survival. You can actually see your items, put them back down, keep them all at the same time. Sod it, we've done it now anyway. It would also need a type. It doesn't know what type it is. I could use this as the type. We could in fact use slot as well. I could have a list up here saying, if it's this slot oh, slot also specifies item type. Now we can't use just like slot 0, slot 1 and all that because you have to think about what the other ones are using. It will basically dictate the drawing layer. That's how I think about it right now. So the player is the highest one at 63. I had some problems, if I remember right. See this, I've got the NPC at 30 right now. Let's just try changing to 62. You should still be able to see him. Oh, he is there, good. Good, so we can do that. So if we say there's going to be 10 NPCs, let's allow. So we can start the collectibles at 50, say, and go down. So the first one would be 50. And that'll be. I wrote down what he was going to be able to pick up. We can change all this, but yeah, lava, look. And we get the picture. Obviously, I'll put some more there when we've got them. Now it's interesting, locker key here is in the player inventory. But I don't necessarily need to make a collectible for that. Maybe you never see that. Of course, there could be an icon for it in his, but we'll use these for the icons to see whether to display an icon or not. So that could be another good example of how a collectible is different from an inventory item, although they are linked, because when you pick up a collectible, you want it to go into your inventory. But we're doing a bit of hard coding here, but that's how you make games. You know, you've got to hard code the storyline into the game. You can't procedurally generate everything. Decent enough idea, isn't it? Yeah. And it makes sense if you think about it. It's quite simple. I think there would be a way of doing it with constants, and it would save a lot of memory. I could make all this a constant eventually and just have one collectible item. Of course, it would still go into the inventory just the same as what I've got there. So this is like a trial run. And if not, we'll keep the NPC as it is and try and make a whole bunch of them by constants and populate all this on the fly, depending on where you are on the map. Should be easily possible with what we already know, I think. It's just a case of making sure you get the logic right. It's tough to get the project completed because you end up running into a problem that you can't solve if you're not careful. But that's what happens to me anyway. So let's just say we want to be able to see the lager. And it would be a sprite, I guess. But I guess it could be a tile, couldn't it? If it wasn't going to move. I think we can use tile map. A tile. Well, no, I don't think we can actually, because it won't be transparent. You won't see a floor underneath it or whatever. You'll have to draw the specific floor on the same sprite as the pickup. So we want to be able to use a sprite. But yeah, slot. So inconveniently, it's number 7. 0, 1. Is there even enough of it? No. Oh, sod it, keep that. So that's how you'd make a pickup. I've made some lava now. And I'll put it in world 8. 8. So we can see it straight away, sod it. And that's already the wrong ones. I just done that on the Y, higher and lower byte. Now, because we know it's the lava, we can definitely just set the attribute bit straight away in here. So we've done the slot. This is attribute 2. That's normally zeros anyway, I believe. We don't really use that. I can't remember what that is. Oh, palette, mirror, something else, rotate. So leave that. Attribute 3, here we go. Well, we actually do want it to be visible because we know that it's on the screen, but we want the code to take care of that. I can't remember what that second bit does either. Oh, E, extended tile set. We'll put that on And the reason being, I don't have to change the code I've already written. I can use the same stuff. And then that one has to have that there, I remember, so we might as well just put. Right, so I've set it to be not visible now. Also got the wrong sprite. See, as coders, we know already in advance if it's lager. We already should know the sprite ID. I don't really have that many decent sprites. Can't remember what these are. Let's just put 6 and see what happens. So what would 6 be? Oh, my mouse. Unfortunately, I'm really sorry about this, but I'm a bit tired, so I don't think I'm going to get this to draw before I go offline. Because I'm feeling a bit knackered out, and it's not so simple as to just chuck in a few lines. Maybe I can if I copy and paste it from here. Basically similar, very similar to this. Where was I? Collectibles, yeah, there we go. If we wanted to just loop through them all, yeah, why not? We'll try it. Oh, bless. She shouldn't be up at this time, should she? Or is she grown up? Slot 7. We want the little byte of X. 1. IX plus 1. IX plus 3. Eight, 9, 10. Let's make it visible a sec. It should just draw now as long as we include this name. Can't remember, I've got a feeling these have to be at the bottom for some reason. I'm probably completely wrong there. Forgot what I did. Oh yeah, the lager. Is it boots? I forgot to call it, didn't I? But got carried away. I mean, it's going to slow the game down to no end. But... oh, I haven't finished anyway. We also want to compare. Where is it? It's showing. So yeah, compare A. It's already in A. If that's false, at the end there, jump to that. I forgot to put it in. We need the constant for collectibles data length. Actually 11, isn't it? Okay, that's better. Now we'll just have to call that, and we can actually, at the moment, just call it every frame. Until we run into problems, I'm going to do it the most easy way, like that. From game. Yeah. I don't know what the sprite's going to be, but oh, it's not there anyway. Should be somewhere up there. For now, let's just have just the one in there. It is 11. Sure of it. Let's get a beer. Women's converted carport garage. That sounds good. Definitely 11, by the way. So it shouldn't be getting any problems there. Ah, this should be 1. We don't really need that. We could just test this bit. There it is. Doesn't look much like a beer right now. It should have been a bit further down, I would have thought as well. Didn't like its position. No, it's not. The position's not right. Ah, of course. I've just set its world position, and we haven't got any code to do the world position yet. Eventually I'll change it, but we could change it now just to show. JNC lager label, definitely. So that's. I think I'm going to wind it up in a minute now. To these positions here. I just changed the X there, by the way, and not the Y at all. But we need to set them in code Zelik's next game, Dev. Yeah, you know it, Croman. How you doing, my man? I'm just about to go offline, I'm afraid, mate. You joined right at the end. But we're getting there. I've got quite a lot of ideas for tomorrow's stream already. I've just got to make this work. We've already got the code that converts from world space to screen space. Ready for the weekend? Nice one, man. Yeah, thank you very much for popping in, saying hi. Hopefully, come back when there's even more added to the game. Already, there's a little fight scene I've created, look, but it doesn't do anything yet. But by the time you next come back, I reckon there'll be a little battle scene. It's going to be a turn-based battle. I've got to work on them bloody fonts again, haven't I? Yeah, thank you, dude. There's loads to do for tomorrow. The first thing I'll do though is make it so that these can be placed in the world. Just specify the world position and it will just activate them when needed. Exactly the same as we did with the NPC. I mean, look, I can do it now on the NPC. Let's set him to 45 on Y, and this is in cells. So he'll be like below the screen now. That sprite at the top you have to ignore because that's not having that done. But you see the NPC just appears when we get there. So yeah, easy peasy. I've got a good feeling about tomorrow's stream. I think I will add a lot to the game. It seems to be all working lovely, exactly as I'm expecting it. Haven't run into too many problems now. The only scary thing is how much memory I'm using. I haven't checked that at all. I need to load into the the SD card and see how big that next file is. I guess I could probably copy it onto my hard drive in the bat file. Probably copy this here to my actual hard drive. Maybe I'll try that quickly. I don't know if I can be bothered right now, actually, to be honest. I'll leave that there to remind myself to do it tomorrow. Yeah, I've got to look at them banks, haven't I? On Monday I've got a day off, so I'll probably do a bit of reading then. Do a small project to explore how they work. Time for dinner. I reckon I'm going to go and get some munch as well. Midnight munch. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Rest of your day. Yeah, good night, Specky. Thank you for being around, man. I'll be here tomorrow. Hope to see some of you guys then.